Second practice may begin.
Good evening, everybody, from Naseby in New Zealand. We are here for practice for this session. My name's Phil Goshnick, and I will be assisting our lead commentator, Matthew Heskett, in relation to our game that we are showing here on Sheet 3 this evening, or Sheet C as it's actually called. The Greer Rink, named after a quite famous New Zealand curling family. We have had some interesting events here at this last session. We've had some fantastic games so far. We've got Matt now in the seat. Evening, Matt.
Yeah, good evening, Phil. How are you?
Well, had a few beers, so everything's just fine.
Sounds good.
Well, you know, spirit of curling, I think, is Spates Old Dark tonight.
Absolutely, Spirit of Curling is flowing quite well in this after dark slot, as we've called it. So
the after dark slot.
That's right. So we've got two great teams on the ice tonight. So currently in their pre-game 9-minute practice is Team Hlushak. We've had Team Gallagher on the ice just before. Very shortly, in around about 7 minutes or so, they'll be doing their last stone draws to work out whether Team Hlushak or Team Gallagher will be having a last stone in the first end for tonight.
Yep, we've got some practice going on at the moment. We've got Team Hlushak at the moment doing practice. For anyone who's come in early on the broadcast.
And for those who know, second practice is yellow stones. What's your preferred coloured stones, Phil?
Well, there is nothing quite like a red stone, because when you have a colourblind, I'm letting all my secrets out now, aren't I? When you have a colourblind issue, well, dark is always good. Once you go dark, you don't go back.
It must be really hard for you to play here before the competition stones come on the ice, Phil, because they use blue stones. Is that a difficult colour for you to see, or is that pretty good because it's dark?
Again, it's a dark stone, so you go dark, you don't go back.
Some great advice there from Phil. Not sure if anyone's going to take it, but that's okay.
Not a problem, Matt. We do sort of have the range of stones here. We could say we've got a green and gold out there at the moment with the yellow stones that Hlushak is practicing with.
Yeah, that is true. And in the middle of the sheet where we've got the house stones, there are some green and gold ones there. So the word is that they once upon a time used to have green and blue. But
green and blue?
But again, for the colourblind people, those handles have been painted yellow to make it a bit easier on the contrast. So we've got light and dark when those sheets use both blue and the yellow stones. But tonight, I think it's going to be a really interesting series of events. We've got 4 games going tonight. All the sheets are busy, but obviously, as Phil said at the very start, we're on sheet C, as we will be all week. Still watching Team Hlushak with their warm-up. So thanks for joining us tonight if you're on the stream early. We'll be kicking off probably in the next 7 or 8 minutes once the last stone draws have been finished and once we've determined who has hammer in the first end.
Yes, you are correct, Matt. We've got 5 minutes there on the final practice there. The formalities of the LSD for the teams. And then we'll be kicking off stone-wise. Well, maybe we're just getting stoned. I'm not real sure on that one.
Yeah, I don't know about that one either. Can't use up all your good jokes before the game even starts, Phil. So.
Who said I was funny?
I'm sure that there is someone out there who's laughing at your jokes, Phil.
Well, unlike some of the earlier commentators that we've had, maybe we could, I don't know, speak the language of the nation.
We've had some heckling from the previous commentators.
We've been heckled by, well, one of the most Australian curlers that I've ever met. Our Scotsman from the Gold Coast.
No, we were listening to the commentary from Derek and Dustin a little earlier today. That was the game that Phil and I were playing on Team Gojnik. So
very professional.
Yes, we couldn't hear it live, but we've watched a little bit of the replay to try to get some good tips.
Yep, I know Sam couldn't understand a damn thing that was going on. Sam Williams, big shout out to Sam.
But no, tonight we're going to try and keep it light. We'll be talking about maybe a little bit of a lineup change, not necessarily in terms of the team, but certainly in our house. So Phil and I, we're both on Team Gojnik for the men's team, and we're sharing a house here in Naseby, along with a number of other
not
people.
sharing it that much.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes, but we had a lineup change tonight in our dinner. We originally had lasagna on the menu. We changed to tacos.
Tacos. Hello, tacos.
So for those who are risotto recipe fans, you'll love the taco chat.
The taco chat. Well, what about the lasagna? I mean, come on. You know, I make a pretty decent lasagna. I know it's no pack and save lasagna.
That is true. For those who want a couple of tips, if you're looking to come to nationals in the future, our advice is that obviously not sponsored at all. Hashtag not sponsored, but pack and save lasagnas are better value than the Woolworths lasagnas on a unit price comparison, because that's I do have a nickname, Phil. Did you know that?
No. Apart from Hey You.
Yeah, well, Hey You or Sweep Harder. That's another nickname that I've picked up along the way. But
I've never said that to you.
No, you haven't. No. But no. Some people colloquially know me in my house as Spreadsheet.
Ah, yes. Spreadsheet. Yes.
Yep. So
there is one and only spreadsheet, and none shall come close.
Apparently so. But no, the shopping list, the movement itinerary to and from the rink, and where we need to go with all of our practice, it's all mapped out on a spreadsheet. And click and collect orders are your friends. So as I said, for those who haven't yet made their way over to Naseby, or might have been a little while, and if you are looking in the future to come over to Nationals, click and collect is the best way for you to get into whether you're coming into Queenstown or Christchurch airports.
What about Dunedin? Dunedin's just opened up.
That is true. From
we have finally opened it up since the apocalypse, as I like to call it.
From July, there'll be direct flights from Australia into Dunedin. So that is another option that you can come. And then, do your click and collect and hit the road as soon as you can. To drive safe as best as you can. It is a little bit of a windy road, a little bit of an interesting road for those who are used to, obviously Phil and I from Queensland, we're used to the straightness of the Bruce Highway, going up between Brisbane.
Are you kidding me?
That's okay. It's quite straight compared to the roads from between here and Queenstown.
Oh, listen, mate, I'm sort of Sunshine Coast North. This is it's verging on Catter Country, Bob Catter Country that way.
It is, but we're not going to get political tonight, Phil.
Oh,
so
I see. Yes.
Have to wait for the results for the Australian election. But
yes, the Senate hasn't been decided yet.
That's true, and as we can see up on the time clock there's 36 seconds left in this practice session.
Well, why we've got that 32 seconds now? What is the cheaper lasagna?
Pack and save. Pack and save is the.
Well, what are we talking about per unit at this point in New Zealand dollars.
Oh, it's hard to say. I have to consult the spreadsheet to see what the
I
per
see.
unit cost is, but it's definitely the cheaper option from the perspective of.
And for all those out there,
the
New Zealand dollars are like the German Alp dollars. Like Austria has Alp dollars, and although they do run the euro these days, obviously in New Zealand they have their own Kiwi currency, which is a bit like our version of an Alp dollar for the furthest eastern states of Australia.
That is correct. Yes. So yes, New Zealand dollar. It's quite good for us coming from Australia. We often refer to it as the Australian discount. So thank you.
Thank you, New
Kiwi
Zealand
brethren.
government. Yes, much appreciated.
Yes.
Okay, so we're about to have our LSD being delivered here on this sheet by Team Hlushak.
So it'll be clockwise first. Is our first last stone draw.
So for the viewers at home, that will be coming down the right-hand side of your screen.
That is correct. So Nicole Hewitt is delivering this clockwise last stone draw. Grace McIntosh Phillips in the house holding the broom.
She's looking a bit hot at the moment. I would even say that would be a solid 12 plus if we were using a numbering system.
Now, did you see how the last stone draws for Team Gallagher went?
No, I'm sorry. That was pretty much when I was getting my first old dark from the bar here. 12 foot, yep.
We've been well informed.
Well informed by, I'm not going to say guest speaker, but alternate speaker. Just off to our left here in the commentary position, Lynn Hewitt has arrived. Hello from Lynn Hewitt for all those out there. Those who may or may not be aware, I'm sure most Australian curlers out there are aware. Lynn is Dean Hewitt's mother. Ugly rumour, I know, but Lynn is here competing on Team Gallagher. I must confess, in the spirit of ensuring that there is disclosure, I am actually Team Gallagher's coach tonight, who Team Hlushak are playing. So my coaching duties here are not only commentary, but also for the team should they have a timeout at some point during this evening's frivolities.
Well, to be honest, Phil, that's the funniest part. We've been joking and trying to get Team Gallagher to actually call a timeout because we want to see you run down those stairs.
And you know what? That could end up in sport curling, as we know.
That's true.
We do not want injuries on the ice or the stairwell of Naisby's rink.
So what we've got now, we've got Lynn Gill going to deliver the counterclockwise last stone draw.
Lynn is also part of the mixed doubles parenthood, with Tali Gill being part of the Dean and Tali Gill Hewitt mixed doubles reigning pair for Australia, who've just finished at a third position at Worlds. Well, you know what, looking at that, maybe Tali got a little bit of that somewhere from all that Boondall experience in Queensland.
But as always, we'll wait for the official measurement.
This is true. Never kick the stone out. Big shout out to George Thomas, which we've been part of our Team Goshnik this week, who has unfortunately suffered an injury at this year's Nationals. But we've been educating George on making sure that we don't have any issues of removing the stone before the measure and forfeiting the measure on an LSD.
And I'm not sure whether our previous commentators have done so, but a big shout out to our officials that are here today. So Sandy and Rob Gagnon, very, very generously give up their time to volunteer.
Absolutely.
To make sure that we're able to curl fair.
Yes.
Curl clean.
Yes.
And curl within the rules. So very grateful to our officials, volunteers, and everyone else who's contributed to this year's Nationals.
Without the dedicated volunteer efforts of people like Sandy and Rob, we would not have the professionalism that we have at our national events that are held here in Naseby, Central Otago in New Broland. Not sure if from the Peanut Gallery. Okay, so maybe maybe Sandy's son Ian had a comment in the background there. I'll leave that to the casual listeners to interpret.
So for those who have joined us, thanks for joining us tonight on our After Dark session. It's Matthew Heskett and Phil Gojnik from Team Gojnik. Commentating here on Sheet C, we've got the 2 hours and 40 up on the clock. We're just waiting for the final formalities to occur before we start our game off tonight. Looks like that Yellowstone, so second practice, that's Team Hlushak. They have got Hammer in the first end, so we'll update our scoreboard very, very shortly. But Phil is having dinner of champions tonight. You might hear that rustling. That's the rustling of a box of chicken crispy shakes. Once upon a time, I would say that was my favourite flavour, but I have converted to nacho cheese. What's your thoughts, Phil?
Nothing but chicken crispies, mate.
Yeah, they are pretty good.
Yep. Alright, so our first stone has been delivered by Team Gallagher. Bit of a team lineup change, which I was part of this evening in an earlier team meeting. Big shout out to Ros Gallagher, the skip, for inviting me over for a risotto dinner. Yes, a risotto dinner for those that are interested. The first delivery was by V. John, who has delivered down and put in a high guard. Team Hlushak now is delivering their first stone, a yellow, which has come in contact with that high guard, just over the hog line. V. Johns is now in the hack, ready for her second delivery. B, of course, is another part of a curling dynasty in Australian sport, with her father Steve Johns having competed numerous times for Australia over the years.
And in fact, Steve Johns is playing the Dora Short team. So Steve Johns is on Team Johns, and they are playing Team Kildy tonight. We've also got, so going all the way to our left-hand side, we've got Team Collins is playing Team Armstrong. So that's another two men's teams playing off on Sheet A. So the outside sheets are our men's games tonight, and then our inside sheets, so Sheet B and Sheet C, are our women's teams. And so Sheet B is Team Williams versus Team Cats. So you may have joined us a little earlier. We had Team Cats on the what do we call this sheet, Phil?
Listen.
The showcase sheet. The
showcase sheet.
The showcase. That's
showcase,
it. Thank you, Peanut Gallery. It's the
showcase.
Showcase sheet for tonight.
We'll call it a showcase. We might even call it Sheet Spectacular. Hope nobody heard that comment from the Peanut Gallery. Alright, now that we've got two stones in the house from V. Johns and also from Team Hlushak, we're having our fifth stone delivered. Coming clockwise down and aiming clearly for some form of glory, possibly in the 4 foot. It's a red stone, I can see it, man.
You can see the red stones.
Yep.
I'm glad that you can see it.
We're just short of the 4 foot. On your broadcast, it's probably better than what my eyesight and my out-of-date prescription glasses show me.
Yeah, so it looks like it's just top 8 on that overhead camera. So our third stone for Team Hlushak, we've got Nicole Hewitt delivering this one. Looks like we're going for a bit of a takeout, but it looks like it might just take out that front guard. So just moves a couple of the stones around.
Not much of a change in position there. Bit of yellow on yellow action. Always ends up in something happening. Rock on rock.
Team Gallagher's about to throw their fourth stone. But as we go from our left to right sheets from our broadcast window, we've got red team, red stones, so that's Team Armstrong. They've got hammer on sheet A, or last stone first end. We've then got Team Williams have got hammer on sheet B. Obviously, as you can see on our broadcast, we've got Team Hlushak with yellow stones with hammer on sheet C. And then sheet D, we've got Team Jolts with the yellow stones once again.
Yes, up against Team Kildy, which is delivering at this point. Down there, left-hand side of the sheet, which you may catch on the side of your broadcast. Chicken Crispies are good, mate.
I'm sure they are.
Well, the Colonel does say they're finger-licking good. Maybe not the Crispies,
Not the chicken crispies, yeah.
but you know, his product.
That's right. Nicole throws a nice takeout.
Just popping that stone out there and ensuring that the red is now lying as shot rock.
Yep. That yellow in the back, it's still just biting the back of the 8 foot. So yeah, that front red still looks like it is shot rock from that overhead camera.
Absolutely.
Shout out to everyone back home who's tuning in, whether you are a curler, whether you're a family member of someone who's playing tonight, or just a supporter of Australian curling. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, from wherever you are in the world, for that matter.
That's right. We love
Please feel free to put in the comments where you are viewing from this evening. Or, should you be in somewhere exotic, like the Macquarie Islands in Penguin time, what time of day it might actually be there. We would love to know, to be honest.
That's right. It's the after dark slot for us here in Naseby. We're just past 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. But yeah, it'd be great to find out where you're from and what time it is if you are from somewhere exotic, like as Phil said, whether it's Macquarie Island or Bora Bora or...
Bora Boring, as I like to call it personally. One of our family favourites on sheet A, Derek Smith, certainly would be very appreciative of a trip, if anyone can sponsor him or the team, to Bora Boring, somewhere in the Tahiti Islands.
We've just been informed by some of the commentators that Derek is just one of the few left-handed curlers that are here at the Australian Nationals. It's quite interesting when you line up and you're standing behind the hack because you're ready to throw next, and you're like, oh, hang on, someone's in the other hand. They're a lefty.
Yep, we don't discriminate here. Whatever your preference is, left or right, whichever way you want to go. I won't say anything about the origin of this comment, but as we said, whichever way you want to speak.
We do have some very colourful uniforms on the sheet on the ice tonight. We've got our dark coloured uniforms with our dark stones here tonight on sheet C. So maroon coloured uniforms for our red stones and a light grey uniform.
It's very Queensland, even though I don't. Well, Ros Gallagher originated from Queensland. She's originally Queensland origin, but certainly dark on dark there, so that matches quite well, doesn't it?
It does. And over on sheet A, we've got another red uniform with red stones. So that's quite easy for us to tell which team is which on sheet A. But I have to say, the kaleidoscopic colour of Team Collins, I think, wins the uniform award this year. That's my opinion. Very creative, very colourful, very. It just pops on the ice, Phil.
I love popping, personally, but anything couldn't be any more boring than black on black, personally, which is why I'm glad that we have gone blue, even though we are Queenslanders, and would love that dark maroon colour, because clearly that works well in the Queensland sun.
That is true, Phil. Our Team Goshi uniform, it is a royal blue colour.
Royal? I thought it was more a neon blue.
No, it's
forgive me, I'm colourblind.
Technically royal blue, that's
right.
correct. That's
okay.
Correct. But shout out to our designer, Nick. So Nick was our designer of our uniform. He's taken elements from the Queensland Curling Association logo and applied it to sort of look like a little bit of a heartbeat across the chest.
I actually thought it was the mountain range behind Naseby.
It looks pretty similar, I have to say.
I've got to say, it's... Well, certainly after a few beers when I look at my uniform and look at the range, stare off in the distance, there's so much similarity there, I can tell you right now.
That's right. Some of the other uniforms, as Phil said, we've got black on sheet D. So two teams in dark coloured tops. So luckily, Team Kildy is wearing caps, so we can see who they are. But then on sheet B, we've got the very apt cat uniform.
Cat?
Cats. Yeah, there are cats.
Are there cats on the uniform?
There are. So they've got a black back with a white front. And
Meow.
Little cats on the front. And Team Williams in green as well. So they've got green, black and white. So
the old green, black and white. You can't go past the combo of green, black and white. Nothing quite like planting a flag of some sort of kind with those colours.
So we're getting towards the end of this end here. We've got 3 stones left, so 2 from yellow, 1 from red. So we're going to have, these are skip stones. So Amanda Hlushak's going to be throwing her first of her last 2.
Yep, Ros Gallagher just delivered hers.
How are we looking in the house, Phil?
Well, at the moment there's a player standing there, followed by another player. They're holding brooms.
They are holding brooms, Phil. Can you see from that overhead camera, can you see what would you predict the score is in the moment?
Oh, listen.
Don't want to call it early one, but just how we're sitting at the moment.
You'd hate to call it early. I mean, come on, you call it early, you're going to end up in a world of hurt, aren't you? So, listen, I've got the measure out on this one. As long as the camera is at the right angle, we've just got the 1 red in there.
Okay.
So that would be Team Gallagher, since their uniforms match that red stone.
That's correct.
But we do have a bit of a... I'm not even going to say a bit of a hot one coming down, but it certainly has taken... It has taken the red stone out from Team Hlushak. So we now have Ros Gallagher coming back into the fray with her final stone, as Team Hlushak has hammer. Let's see how the skip Ros can do her best here, see how things can be certainly rearranged. got Team Gallagher's Roz Gallagher as skip coming down. She's thrown her final stone. Unfortunately, it looks like it's been a bit hot. Coming down the right-hand side of your screen there. Passing through the house. So as things lie, Team Gallagher is still sitting 1, but it's quite buried on the left-hand side of your screen at the back there. You should be able to see that overhead shot.
You also might not be able to see on your overhead camera that last stone that was Gallagher through. It is biting the back of the 12 foot, so there is a bit of a backing there for Amanda Hlushak with this last stone at the end.
But it's the red on the left that's well on the 6 foot.
That is correct. Yes.
That one's in there. Whether we've got a red on the 8 out there on the right hand side of your screen, or the yellow, which looks like it's actually a little bit deeper there on the top of the 12 foot.
So Linfield called the draw. Draw again to the trying to draw the button.
She looks like she's a bit hot, but we've got 3 sweepers on, so it's a bit deceptive from our point of view.
And it's just tipped on that front one.
Yeah, bit of a unfortunate one there. Those who have curled, we've all been in that position. There looks like Team Gallagher has actually come up with the goods there and taken 1 in the first end. So I'd like to say, without any bias, good on you, Oz, as pseudo/actual coach of the team.
For those who have just joined us, it's Matthew and Phil from Team Gojnik, so on the men's team. Phil also is the coach for Team Gallagher with the Redstones tonight, so we are secretly hoping that Team Gallagher calls timeout. Phil's curling shoes are sitting in front of him. He's still got the RMs on though, so not quite sure they're going to come in handy. So you've got, if it's the away end, you've got 2 minutes, minute of travel time and a minute for your timeout. Don't know if you're going to get your shoes on tonight, but yeah, let's see what happens in terms of whether we're going to see Phil have to make a mad dash down out of the commentary booth.
Yes, RM Williams, of course. Well, actually, they're Blundstones.
Oh, they're Blundstones. Okay.
Yeah, so these are the classier version of the Blundstone family. And they are certainly not World Curling Federation, or these days World Curling, certified according to the list of things that are allowed to be out in a curling rink during a curling game for coaching duties. We may have to get that sorted.
Well, I guess what we could do, the wonderful people who are at Maniatoto Adventure Park have got some great equipment on hand. So if you're a New Zealand local and you want to come by, or even if you're visiting the Otago region, come on down, pop in and give curling a try. But they've got quite a lot of grippers downstairs, so you might be able to put the over grippers over both of your shoes. So then you don't have to
or on my hands and walk down on my hands.
You could.
That's another way of doing it.
That is another way of doing it. Just got those chicken crimpy fingies.
For those who don't know, this evening's snack is courtesy, but certainly not sponsored by Arnott's Original Shapes chicken crimpy flavour. Or as the box says, flavour you can see.
Talking about other things that we can see, Phil. So we've got 2 hours, 22 minutes and 22 seconds left on the clock. We're counting down from 2 hours and 40 minutes as the game time for tonight. Over on Sheet D, they've also finished their first end, and so Team Johns scored 6. That's a fairly formidable feat against Team Kildy there. We're just getting some other score updates on Sheets A and B, so we'll bring you those scores once we know those ones. But we're here still on Sheet C with our Redstone.
Yep, Team Gallagher has just delivered down. A little bit deep. I think that wasn't the intention from the call. But certainly biting there on the back 8 foot. Team Hlushak have a yellow of theirs. sitting just outside the top 4 foot on the right-hand side of your screen. We've got Grace McIntosh Phillips at the moment, delivering a counterclockwise stone down the left-hand side of your screen. Coming in, hopefully, into the 4 foot area with a stone bound for glory. A little bit short on the weight. Still not a bad result, as it froze onto the existing yellow stone of Hlushak, which would certainly make it difficult for Team Gallagher to remove.
Do you know the other thing that I just noticed, Phil, was how we were talking about the colours of the stones and the colours of the uniforms before. Amanda Hlushak, the skip of Team Hlushak, has a yellow coloured broom, and Ros Gallagher, the skip of Team Gallagher, who has the red stones, has a red coloured broom. Nice easy for us to actually tell who it is. What a coincidence.
Red and yellow of all things.
That's right. I think tonight, later on, as the ends go on, I think we need to do a little bit of a ranking of these, some of the brooms that we've got here in terms of the
broom
colours.
rankings.
Broom rankings, just on the colour, not the brands.
Well, what if you don't have a colour? What if, is white a colour?
Well, white is a colour, but the white brooms that we've got out on the ice tonight, I know that yours is a very white coloured broom, Phil, just with a very plain little sticker on it, but the other brooms that are out on the sheets that we're looking at, currently Phil and I are looking at sheet A for their broom colours. There is an alternating colour there as well, so we can pick up some colours there.
There is a kaleidoscope of colours that are available on brooms. Not to mention on the broom head material these days either.
That's true.
Long as she is, to use the colloquial term, World Curling certified, you are allowed to have all sorts of designs on your brush surface.
No, not your brush surface, just the top of your brush.
The top. So it's all about the bling on top.
Bling on top? That's
bling
right.
on top.
Standard underneath, which is what impacts and switches on the ice.
There you go. Don't ever rely on anything I have to say.
So back on sheet C, we've got, what are we sitting at the moment? We've got 3 stones in the house that are yellow, 1 at the back for Team Gallagher with the red stone, just biting that the back 8 foot. Little cluster of yellows at the front, in the front of the 8 foot.
Very consistent. We do have a bit of a peel coming down from Team Gallagher, trying to move some of those yellow stones. Certainly past the existing red that was guarding the cluster of yellow stones that Hlushak had put in there. Only one being removed, however, but cutting them down by 1.
For the time being, but there's still a lot more stones to go, Phil.
Without counting them, yes, I would agree with that.
So just some scores from some of the other sheets. I know that we gave the stripes out on sheet D earlier. We've got over on sheet A, so that's Team Armstrong versus Team Collins. And so we've got Team Armstrong in the red shirts for the Red Rocks, and they scored 1 on the first end. So they're up 1-0 with Team Collins with the hammer in the second end on sheet A. And then on sheet B, we've got Team Williams with the yellow stones. They're up 5 in the first end. And so Team Cats has got hammer in the second end. So we'll keep you updated with the scores across each of the sheets tonight, but obviously we've got our showcase sheet C. We're here with Team Gallagher with the red stones and Team Hlushak with the yellow.
Ros Gallagher at the moment looking to possibly move stones here with her broom call. And one hell of a screamer coming from Carolyn.
Carolyn Swan from Western Australia. One of the few people from Western Australia who travelled over for nationals this year.
Yes, which is certainly a mammoth effort.
certainly is. It's quite convenient for us from Queensland. We can have direct flights into Queenstown, but we also know that our curling comrades from Western Australia, they often have to connect they connect on the east coast of Australia or have to connect somewhere else in New Zealand, so whether that's Auckland or somewhere like that. So it is a big effort for them to come over, quite a long journey, but we certainly appreciate the opportunity to catch up with them, both on the ice and off the ice, hopefully, and great to see them out here being represented. With also Brad Scott as well. Brad Scott on sheet A for Team Collins.
That's correct.
And we've also got a number of WA women on sheet B as well, on Team Williams as well. So Michelle Frederick Armstrong, Karen Tithridge, and there's still Helen Williams as well.
We also have Dustin Armstrong over on sheet A, opposing Brad Scott, who's the skip there of Team Armstrong. And by all means, a big shout out to everyone at Curling Western Australia that may have tuned in for this evening's broadcast. We are fully aware that with the time difference, although it may be rapidly approaching 7:30 in Broland time, that would be 5:30 on the eastern seaboard, but obviously 3:30 in the afternoon in Greater Western Australia.
So if you're still at work and you're still at work on a Friday afternoon and tuning in, hello to you.
Especially if that Teams meeting is boring you.
That's right. Having the broadcast up in a second.
Get
window.
up, Curling Australia. Tune out of the Teams meeting. That workplace health and safety stuff that you're supposed to be learning, nothing on this.
So Lynn Gill's about to deliver her next stone here for Team Hlushak. So we're just going to go quiet for a little bit, just as we get a bit of an update from some of our spectators. So we'll be back with you very, very shortly.
Wow. Okay, so Team Hlushak have just delivered a stone while we were getting an update for, well, general chit-chat in the background, where they've come down and delivered quite a sensational stone to the back four, which is slightly hidden by the large cluster of 3 yellows you'd be able to see there in your overhead. It would appear that Ros Gallagher is going to try and, in the Star Wars reference, blast those stones and remove as many as she possibly can. There is another term that I could use here, and it possibly is an alley. So for those that may be aware of what the alley is, you just do not want to know what the alley is.
So here on sheet C, there are no guards in front of those yellow stones in the house. There is a red as a corner guard, but there's not a lot there protecting that pocket of 3 at the front, with the yellow just in the back four.
Ros has delivered. She's come hard. She's come wide. She is coming on to the outer yellow, which has cut across and removed one of the yellows, but has certainly opened up things somewhat. There's certainly a path in there now, which I'm sure Team Hlushak will be potentially aiming to guard up that zone, especially since they have 2 stones remaining, and since Ros took the final end, or last end, sorry, not final end, Ros only has 1 stone to come.
And that was a steal of 1 as well, Phil. So Team Hlushak started with hammer.
Yep.
And it was a steal of 1. So we'll see what happens here. So this is for Amanda Hlushak's first skip stone. Thanks for joining us as well with us tonight. We obviously don't have the the expert commentary from Derek Smith and Justin Armstrong from this afternoon. They're on playing.
Andrew Swain, sorry.
Andrew Swain, that's right.
From Team Kildy.
Yes, it's a professional commentator. We were very grateful to have him up for our middle draw of the day, commentating. So that was great to have him up there and giving his perspectives on how things are going here on the ice. But also, I'm sure that he would have spoken about his journey into curling so far, as Team Kildy is one of the newer teams to join us for Nationals in 2025.
So Team Hlushak delivered their stone. It's now resting between the 8 and 12 foot in quite a generous guard position, blocking a pocket that Roz could have certainly delivered her final red stone into. So at this point in time, we're looking at an array of calls that we have yet to decide. Okay, we are now looking at drawing down the left-hand side of your screen with a counterclockwise delivery by Roz Gallagher. Hopefully coming into the 4-foot pocket that is slimly available on that side. I think Roz might be a slightly bit narrow with her delivery.
2 sweepers are on though.
And they are heading for the port.
And they
are trying to go through the port. Oh, look at that. They have gone into the port. Any port in a storm, Matt.
Any port in a storm. So what that's looking like for Team Hlushak is that's close on that overhead.
Oh, yeah. It is looking close. We realise that at this point in time, you've got Team Hlushak that's got a rear yellow there on the 4. We've got another 4 off to the right-hand side of your screen.
Just on that T-line there.
Just on the T-line. Nice T-line delivery, that one.
Yep.
And Roz has managed to cut down the number there from a 3, certainly down to a 2.
And let's see what Team Hlushak can do in this situation. Obviously, sitting 2 at the moment. But it'll be interesting to see if they're able to increase that lead. But certainly, it's a little hard to see from our perspective whether that the red in the 6 foot or whether that yellow is a little bit closer. We might need one of our wonderful volunteer umpires, Sandy or Rob Gagnon, to come and do a measure. But I'm sure that the skips and the vices out there will make the right call in terms of what that score is going to be. Gill's calling off the stop. Stop sweeping. It's got a curl.
Stop.
Yellowstone coming in.
All right, well, there's just a little bump there. So we've definitely got a solid 3. Lynn is certainly looking, and they have just called for a measure. They have called for a measure?
No, they've called for 3 yellow.
3 yellow, was it? No.
Yes.
I thought that indication there from Lynn Gill was for a measure. Clearly not. Maybe it's time for another chicken crispy.
Stones are being cleared away, so it looks like we've got Team Hlushak taking 3 with that end. Having a little team chat, so each team's allowed 1 minute between ends to have a little bit of a team chat. Fist bump, reset, and head down to the other end. We'll update that scoreboard once it's official at the other end of Sheet C. But just another score update from the adjacent sheet, Sheet D. So it looks like that Team Johns put another 3. They stole 3 from Team Kildy. So they're sitting 9 at the moment after 2 ends, with Team Kildy with the hammer in the 3rd. And Grace McIntosh Phillips here with the first stone of the 3rd end here on Sheet C. Grace has come in and thrown a guard.
Actually quite a nice one, by the looks of it.
Quite a nice corner guard there for Grace.
Ross Gallagher calling for an opposing guard. Splitting up the guards on the house there. V. Johns delivering. Weight looks a little heavy. But the sweepers are on.
Thanks to everyone who is commentating on our live stream. So, Lisa Elliott, great to see that you're from Melbourne, and you wish that you were here. We're glad that you're able to dial in and tune in for us to see our show. What are we calling it again?
Spectacular sheet.
Spectacular sheet here on Sheet C.
Well, no. Some other peanut gallery around us have called it the showcase sheet, but I prefer it to call it the showcase sheet or spectacular, whichever way you want to roll. Could even be the fantabulous sheet.
Could be the fantabulous sheet. So Grace McIntosh Phillips, her second stone, just past the tee line in.
Just slightly deep in the 6 foot zone there, but certainly really only a half stone from where I'm sitting, Matt. So not a bad call there to have that delivery buried certainly behind the guard that Grace put up earlier.
So Veronica Johns is delivering her second stone of the end. That red one there. Coming through, but just that little bit heavy. Amanda Hlushak sweeps that one out the back. And over the back line, so moved out of play. Sheets A and B have both finished their second ends. We're just waiting for the official score to update on the scoreboard, so we'll bring you that very shortly. But the teams are having their team meetings on Sheet A.
Yep, their 1 minute break.
And on Sheet B, first stone thrown was yellow, so that's from Team Williams, which tells us that they were the team that did score. But we're just waiting for that official score to go up onto the scoreboard.
Back on our showcase spectacular sheet, we've had Team Hlushak draw another one down. Pretty much by the looks of that on the tee line from where I'm situated, Matt.
Yeah, the overhead camera just shows it's just ahead of the tee line, but still.
Well, we'll just call it tee because that makes it sound better.
That's right.
Right. You know, when you have to have tea or coffee, we'll just go tea every time tea.
So we do have the score update on Sheet A for you. So this is Team Armstrong versus Team Collins. So Team Armstrong with taking 2 points in the second end. So Team Collins retains hammer for that one. So that was a steal of 2 for Team Armstrong. And just waiting for that score to update on Sheet B. So thanks to the skips there on Sheet A for updating the score. On Sheet C though, Nicole Hewitt is lining up for her second stone for this third end.
Coming down at a nice weight. Hopefully to just zip in there behind the 2 yellow guards that may not be fully apparent on. Oh no, there's a yellow and a red. But just collecting the red and ticking off to the side. The 2 yellows that are in the house are still reasonably protected, just off to the left-hand side of your screen.
thanks again to everyone who has joined us here on our draw this evening. It's just almost 20 to 8 here in Nathan, New Zealand. One of the good parts about having a different time zone though, Phil, is both you and I are both Eurovision fans. So
oh yes.
Yeah. So this morning we had no spoilers, of course, because those who might be wanting to watch Eurovision.
Good luck to you. I'll spoil it
on SPS. No spoilers, Phil. For those who wanted to watch, obviously it was live this morning, so 7 o'clock here in New Zealand. So as soon as we woke up, we were at the rink at 8 o'clock. We turned it on. Gojo with Milkshake Man. He was our Australian representative.
Milkshake Man.
Milkshake Man.
What a name.
He was the first song of the second semi-final here for Eurovision.
I do love a Milkshake Man.
I do too. What is your favourite flavour?
Well, listen, hands down, caramel malted. Caramel malted every time.
Yeah, I do like a
extra malt. Always the extra malt. It's hard to find a decent place that does a caramel malted these days. And I rate places that will do a caramel malted milkshake. The other thing I do rate, the old creme brulee.
That is a little Easter egg for those who do know Gojo's song, Milkshake Man. He talks about his creme brulee milkshake within the song, but as we said, no spoilers. But it was actually quite good because normally, Friday being a work day, back at home in Australia, we'd normally be waking up at 5 o'clock on the East Coast to try and tune in to watch live on Friday morning to see whether we were in that semi-final. But one of the advantages of being a little bit further east than Australia.
Well, the eastern states of Australia. The furthest eastern states.
That's right. So,
yes.
So we're able to actually watch it
the eastern, north and south island.
That's right. We're able to watch it at a quite a respectable time of 7 o'clock. And tune in to see Australia represented at Eurovision in the second semi-final. So, as we said, we're not going to spoil whether Australia's made it through to the final or not. If you're wanting to watch the replays, they're normally on Friday nights and Saturday nights on SBS back home in Australia.
I will say the blender is a feature.
The blender does feature.
The blender does feature with Milkshake Man.
There is a lot of smoke. There are some costume changes.
There are some spectacular costume changes.
So it is a spectacle. The crowd was going nuts, and so hopefully, good luck to Gojo.
I would say the crowd went bonkers. It was a crowd favourite, but whether or not that will help Gojo will certainly be up to the usual process with Eurovision voting.
That is correct. One of the good parts about us, obviously we didn't vote because we weren't able to.
Well, no, I'm a tight ass, man. I don't vote.
That's true, but us being over here in New Zealand, we were able to contribute to the rest of the world vote. But unfortunately, we had our game this morning that we needed to compete.
Well, yes, there was a critical point at the half-time 4-end break where we did summons people, if we could, to find out what had happened to the Australian entry of Gojo.
That's right.
And it was certainly influential on our game at that point to whether we stepped up another notch to make sure that our existing fight then against Team Kildy had been much more successful in our ambition or not. Raise the bar, I think, or possibly mix the milkshake a bit harder.
It did. Lit some fire in the belly.
Fire in the belly, mate. It's milk.
It is milk. Yes, that's right.
Like if you put the fire on, you just get burnt milk.
Or if you have fire in the belly, that's when you need to take the lactase.
Well, yes. I think. Well, it's beyond my medical knowledge. I just know aspirin. Sometimes Nurofen does stuff for me.
That's right. Anyway, so yes, for those who are Eurovision fans, hopefully you get to tune into SBS to watch that. And if you're super keen like us, waking up at 5 o'clock on the eastern coast and much earlier in Western Australia to see the live grand final.
Why wake up at 5? Why not just go through?
You could go through.
You could have a Eurovision party and ensure that you have a few bevies, as they say here in Broland, and I don't know, as they say in Victoria, let's just go colloquially local for the Victorians that are representing here at Curling Australia. Just get on the beers, Dan Andrews style.
One thing, I have to say, I have had a Eurovision party before. At my house.
Well, why didn't I get an invite?
Well, this was before I met you, Phil.
Oh, I see. Well,
before Team
that's
Gojnik was for, well,
possibly.
I was on Team Gojnik.
Oh, well,
Yes.
Yes.
But what we decided to do, rather than going all the way through the night and having an all-nighter, we woke up at 5 in the morning. But what we decided to do the day before was we went to Woolworths.
The old Woolies.
Woolworths.
Woolies.
One of the big major supermarkets.
One of the
in
major
Australia.
supermarkets that are not sponsoring tonight's event.
That's right. But we went to the International Foods aisle and we tried to get one thing from every country or from as many countries that were represented in Eurovision. So we ended up...
Well, that would have been a hard task because they're scungy bastards.
Not really, though.
Oh, I see.
So we ended up with... we had some chicken soup from the Czech Republic. We had some
Fair
pretzels
call.
that were made in North Macedonia. We had some rye cake from the Netherlands. Oh, sorry, honey cake from the Netherlands as well.
There is quite a good Netherlands selection
There is,
in the
yes.
Woolies aisles, yes.
And then naturally we had cheeses from France. We had some pasta.
La fromage.
Yes, we had
Oui.
some lovely tomato and pasta products from Italy, as you would expect.
Well,
So-
the Greeks are good at that too, you know.
We had Danish salami, we had Hungarian salami, we had quite a lot of food. So,
Was there any milk chocolate from Switzerland?
I don't think we ended up going for Swiss milk chocolate. I think we went for Belgian chocolate.
Belgian chocolate?
Yes.
Yeah, but you could have had Swiss and
We
Belgian.
could have, but we also wanted to try and make sure that we were having. Some variety.
Variety. Well,
Right.
and of course, nil pois for the UK. So
No.
you could have had a...
No, we did. We did get some food from the UK. So we had an iron brew. From,
Do they
from
have
Scotland.
food in the UK that are...
Yeah, we had potato chips and
Chips, bro?
yeah. Chips.
Oh, yeah, that's Kiwi.
Yeah.
Well, they're not in Eurovision.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, we need to get back to watching our
Oh,
sheet here.
my God, yes.
So we're off to skip stones. So Ros Gallagher, she's thrown her first of her 2 skip stones.
Just popping out the centre yellow that's been sitting in there at the 4.
So Team Hlushak still looking like they're sitting 3 from that overhead camera shot, but obviously we'll wait to see what the outcome's going to be.
Meanwhile, over on sheet D, am I reading this right, Matt? Is this for real?
Look, it could be. We don't want to give too much away yet. We want to see what happens, and then
Well, never, yeah.
see. I think that's a commentator's curse, Phil.
Well, I don't know, rocked it out.
You did rock it out.
I
So-
did rock it out.
So we'll wait to see what the score on sheet D is going to be, as well as sheet A and B as well, and obviously our showcase sheet here on sheet C. So Amanda Hlushak with her last of her skip stones, those yellow stones.
With a lovely delivery coming down. Looks reasonably well timed. One to come from Ros Gallagher, but Amanda has certainly delivered a stone that looks like it's about to what would be the turn? Slide on in there. And she's sitting quite high.
You may not be able to see it on that top-down camera. I can't see it on our little preview window, but certainly in the house. But whether it's, I don't quite.
I think it's more protecting the entry that
Yes.
Ros maybe. The Ros is going to have difficulty getting into that port.
Yes, correct. Yeah, so acting as a guard there.
Yes, which is what you want to do. You want to guard the house from all invaders.
That's right.
Ros has now delivered her stone with a quite aggressive delivery, and she has just clipped one of her guards, and the end result is to be decided at this point. Got a lot of people milling around. Stones are now being kicked, so there's clearly been a decision from the Vice. What have you got there on the score, Matt?
Thanks to Rob Gagnon for hanging that score. 3-2 Team Hlushak in the third end.
Trois, as they say in France, if you want to use that Eurovision or even just French reference for that matter. Yeah.
That's right. So we've got Team Hlushak with the Yellowstones on 6 after 3 ends, and Team Gallagher with that steal in the first end on 1 point so far. We've got a score update on Sheet D, so both C and D.
Oh, the Sheet D that we were getting a little bit rock hard on.
I'm not going to go there, Phil. Anyway,
I don't know. It was pretty rock hard from where I was sitting.
So sheet C and D are they're playing about at similar pace.
Similar pace. You are certainly correct on that.
And Team Kildee, they cut down a potential 7.
7.
7 is what
7, Matt.
What they were facing up against. They drew in and
7 in German.
Yes, and they cut it down to 2. So Team Johns with 2 in the third end to take them to 11-0.
That's pretty spectacular there from Team Kildee. They are our, say newbies this year. They're fresh on the ice, part of the Queensland Curling Association. They seem to be bovine experts from my knowledge.
Certainly kitted out in some wonderful matching uniforms, some wonderful matching brooms, and certainly here to shake things up around Naseby with the Australian Curling Nationals.
Meanwhile, back on sheet Spectacular, or the showcase sheet, as we have been advised. First stones are being delivered. The first guard from Hlushak was a little bit into the house. Second from Team Gallagher, actually guarding off that stone. Not sure that was the plan, but seems to be the result.
So our guest commentator Phil is just going to stay hydrated. Is what Phil's going to do. So I'll be with you just until Phil's able to refresh his beverage as he was asking for. We're here with Veronica Johns delivering her second stone on sheet C for Team Gallagher. Over on sheet A, Tanner is getting quite low. Tanner Davis for Team Armstrong getting very, very low in his delivery. In fact, that wasn't Tanner, that was Justin Armstrong getting almost just as low as Tanner Davis. Tanner Davis plays for Team Johns. Some very talented curlers here at the Australian National Curling Championships tonight, both men and women, in our men's and women's draw in our afternoon or our evening time slot here on Friday night. Into the fourth end here on sheet C. We've got Team Gallagher versus Team Hlushak. And once we've finished the third ends on sheets A, we'll do a score update on those as well. Hlushak with the yellow stones on sheet C, just calling for a draw around behind the guards there. There's one yellow sitting at the top of the 12, and then two more traditional guards that are red stones sitting outside of the house. Nicole Hewitt's thrown that stone. Sweepers are sweeping furiously, trying to get it into their house, and trying to then bury it behind those guards that are there. Those two red guards. 3 sweepers now. Amanda Hlushak, the skips come out to try and render some assistance and try and get it into the house, into a scoring position. So you won't be able to. Doesn't look like you can really see those on the top-down cameras there. But we do have 2 yellow stones biting at the top of the 12-foot in the house. One's quite well guarded behind a red stone, and probably 3/4 or so is visible by another red stone acting as a guard there. Next stone for Team Gallagher has come in, sitting inside the 6-foot. Sitting shot lock at the moment, but certainly out in the open at the moment. Didn't quite come behind the other stones that are sitting higher up in the house. You can see that on your top-down camera. Score update from Sheet B as well. So we've got Sheet B, of course, we've got Team Williams and Team Cats. So Team Cats with the red stones, Team Williams with the yellow stones. Team Williams took 3 in the third end to go to 12. Team Cats with hammer. So that was a steal of 3 to Team Williams, sitting 12-0 at the moment, with Team Cats with hammer in the fourth. And over on Sheet A, we've still got Team Armstrong and Team Collins. They're still just finishing off that third end. There's quite a lot of stones in front of the house, quite a few in play as well, so it'll be interesting to see what that ends up with. And speaking of, Phil's back. He's ready to be refreshed and hydrated with his beverage of choice tonight.
Yes, the beverage of choice involves yeast, hops, malt, and essentially the H2O that requires to make it all work.
Thanks to those of you who are watching. We just managed to get the hammer icon in the right position. Just verifying that our scores are correct. So thank you for your patience with that one. We obviously couldn't be here on our live stream without Brad Scott and all the work that he does in terms of getting that up and running, and everyone back in Australia who helps to support the stream as well. So apologies about just not having the hammer icon in the right position, but Team Gallagher definitely with hammer in this fourth end here. A little bit of conversation that's happening just to our left of Phil.
Yes, I did hear that.
They're talking about pies. What's your favourite flavour pie?
Oh, mate, pies. I certainly hope my wife is never going to listen to this broadcast. So, pies. I do like a shepherd's pie.
Yes, shepherd's pie is very solid.
Nothing wrong with that. Just to mix it up. Lamb, not too bad. The old lamb pie. Don't mind that one. The old steak, chunky steak for that matter. It has to be chunky steak. Always the chunky steak.
How are you, Phil, with mushy peas in pies?
Well, you see, mushrooms, I'm a big fan of mushrooms.
Not mushrooms, mushy peas.
I'm a big fan of mushrooms.
Okay.
It's a statement.
Okay, we're talking about mushrooms, okay.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of mushrooms. There's plenty of iron in mushrooms. Mm-hmm. Certainly something that supplements your diet and continues to make for a healthy and strong body. Nothing quite like a mushroom, no matter what kind of meal you have.
Still didn't answer the question about what do you think about mushy peas and pies?
Oh. I don't discriminate against them whatsoever.
Okay. No, that's
I'll go back a little bit further there to the chunky steak, but
Chunky
with
steak.
pepper sauce. The pepper.
Yes.
Always a good one.
That is a good one. We've had a special import, apparently, of mutton pies coming
Mutton.
in. Mutton pies.
Why wouldn't you just go the lamb?
Oh.
Why go for the old bird that you've had to just, finish it off? No good anymore for the wool. Hopefully they haven't knackered it. Never a good thing.
No, never a good thing. But no.
Maybe good for a lamb shank, but, why put that in a pie?
Obviously, it appeals to some people.
Well, if you're into it, mutton.
Yeah.
I prefer things a bit younger, personally.
Yeah, that's fair. But no, in terms of my favourite flavours, chicken and vegetables quite nice.
Chicken?
I do quite like a chicken and vegetable pie.
The old chicken and veg.
However,
Oh, you got to have tomato sauce with if you're going chicken or veg.
Yeah. Tomato sauce with a chicken and vegetable pie.
No, but it seems to work well with the white sauce that they put in that.
Yes.
I don't know why.
Maybe it's something to do with the acidity, not quite sure. But no, certainly.
I think it's just a load of salt in the bloody tomato sauce, to be honest.
Quite likely. But no, definitely a chunky steak pie or a steak and mushroom pie, but with the mushy peas. It's just, it takes it to the next level. Down the road from my house, I've got a pie shop. This is obviously not my house here in Naseby, but where I live back in Brisbane.
Although they do have a world-renowned pie shop just down the road from where we are. Big shout out to the Wappiata Hotel and the Wappiata Pies.
Again, not sponsored. But
But they're bloody good.
They are very good.
And the pub is good.
The pub is good too.
The pub is great.
But no, so we're getting a few more comments from the.
I'm not finished on pies. I don't care about your comments.
I know that. I'm just saying that we're just queuing up what we're going to talk about. We've got to space these things out.
This isn't James Bond.
No, but
not that queue.
But look what's happening. We got an
Oh,
hour
yeah,
39
yes,
to
sorry.
go, an hour 39 to go in the game. We're already up to skip stones again. This is what happens when we start talking about food.
Well, yes.
We just get carried away talking about food.
there's, let's be honest, humans are only interested in the essential things like, food, sleep, shelter,
Yeah,
food.
that's right. So we've got Ros Gallagher's first stone coming through.
Ooh, mercy.
Just missed that yellow. That's it's on the edge of the 8 foot there. So Team Hlushak, so Amanda Hlushak are about to throw her last skip stone. Last of the skip stones. Currently sitting definitely 2, possibly 3 from the angle that we're at. You might not be able to see some of those on that top-down camera. But we'll leave those calls to the skips and the vices. They make those calls for us. And then our wonderful officials post those up on the scoreboard as well. So speaking of, we have finally gotten our scoreboard update on sheet A. So Team Armstrong in the red shirts and the red stones, they've stolen one again in end 3 to go 3-0 up. In fact, that's 4 if my math is right. 1, 2, and 1 is 4-0. So they're at 4-0 at the moment, going into the 4th, with Team Collins with hammer.
Well, I'm still going to focus on pies.
Well, how about we do this, Phil? Let's see this end out, because Sheet C is about to go into their 5-minute.
Oh, we are going. Yeah,
They're going to go into their 5-minute.
We can delve into the piedom.
We can delve into piedom, but we've got 1 stone left before this halftime break's about to happen on Sheet C.
Final delivery here. Ros Gallagher lined up. Delivery. Quite a wide call. Stones coming down. Hoping for a tick and roll here on the yellow. Looks like we've gone a bit too narrow. Straight over the 4 foot. Across the centre line at the back of the house. We're certainly looking at 4 yellows there for Team Hlushak. Unless I'm blind. Or colourblind for that matter, Matt.
Yeah, that's true. Just trying to work out. I think we're having a signal for 4.
Yep. The vice captain there.
Lynn Gill.
Oh, you took the words out of my mouth, Matt.
Yep.
She's signalled 4 to the umpire.
And as always, we will wait for that official to score to go up on the scoreboard. But Sheet D, Team Kildy, managed to get one up on Team Johns. So they're sitting 11-1 at the moment at the end of the 4th end. So they've also gone in for their 5-minute break. Well deserved. Speaking of, I know we'll come back to Pies, Phil. Obviously
there's some action happening.
Okay.
There's some action happening on Sheet A, correct?
Sheet A, yes.
Sheet A is all fired up. The sweeping.
Nose to yellow out.
I would call that a nice nose hit.
Yes. Still a few more stones to go on both sheets A and B. But while sheet C and D are on their 5-minute break, what's your go-to snack? For your 5-minute break, Phil? Because obviously there's only a small amount of time. You need to rehydrate. You need to re-energise. What's your go-to?
Don't mind the old H2O, because I certainly can't get a milkshake anytime handy, especially the old... don't know that I want a milkshake with the old caramel or malt before going back on the ice. Especially screaming at you buggers down the other end. But tend to go with a bit of... listen, I won't speak for other curlers in the past where there's been a bit of possibly malt, yeast, whatever else that's been brewed, perched on chairs at the far end. I don't think that happens anymore at the modern Curling Australia events. That's beyond the rules that we play under these days. Just go with the H2O personally, Matt.
So that's for your hydration. I have both a blue water bottle for my blue Powerade and a red water bottle for my red Powerade. And a white water bottle.
You don't mix them, I hope.
No. I keep them separate so that way I can try and identify them. So a red water bottle, a blue water bottle, and a white water bottle for the water.
That's very multi-denominational there, mate.
Yeah. But what do you reckon about snacks?
Snacks? Oh, mate, you just can't go past the old Minion Muncher.
Minion Muncher.
Yeah, or as you call them locally here, a banana.
A banana?
Yeah.
We are very grateful for those click and collect orders of all the snacks that we get. So I do try and
the old Cavendish banana, mate.
Yeah, re-energise with a banana, but also a couple of lollies from the party mix as well. Also doesn't go astray, just to try and get that energy level back up there, get the glucose in, and
that's right. You can't party without the party mix.
That's right. And especially the party mixes over here. So the lollies in the yellow bag. Won't give them a shout out because we're not getting sponsored, but
well, they should step up a notch.
They should, but very interesting shapes and interesting flavours in those party mix bags. Certainly that we don't get back home in Australia, but nice little treat when we're here in New Zealand.
Is there anything else that you might have as a half-time snack there, Matt?
Well, sometimes I do have what I would call a muesli bar, but what you call
mate,
a bro bar.
There's nothing like a bro bar.
What's your favourite? We'll describe a bro bar for the listeners back home. That obviously I've just called it a muesli bar, but that they are a little bit more than that. Do you want to describe what a bro bar is for you, Phil?
Oh, mate, there's nothing quite like a bro bar, and it's quite simple. It's just a muesli bar made in Broland. Bro bar.
Bro bar, yeah. But the ones that we've got, chocolate base, chocolate drizzle on top.
Bit of choco, mate, on your bar.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with a bit of choco.
That's right.
It's got to have, I don't know, maybe some caramel if you're into that stuff. I don't know. The latest ones seem to not have the oats. I kind of like the oat kind of mix.
Yeah, the more muesli type.
The more muesli.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether it's good for your digestion or not. I'm not into that stuff.
Just all about trying to get something in your tummy.
Yeah,
Some
but
slow release.
slow
energy.
release.
That's right.
Bit of slow release.
Because you've still got 4 more ends to go.
Well, as long as everything's going well.
That's right. Hopefully you're in a position where you've got
In a
4 more ends
position to go the full 4 ends, not just go, you know what, not so good today, 6 will do.
That's right. So we've just got last stone being delivered on sheet B. So this is Team Cats. Team Cats has got hammer on sheet B. At the moment, definitely yellow's definitely got at least 2, potentially 3. Just depends on. There's a red at the back and a yellow at the front, and from our angle, it's a bit hard to see which one's closer for that 3rd stone, or whether it's just going to cut it down to 2. But we've got that
that top yellow and the back red.
Pretty hard to see for us.
It's with that angle, I would say I'm going to call them even Stevens at this point.
Stevens.
Yeah.
Just coming up short, just biting the top of the 12 there for that last stone.
Yeah, that was
Team
done
Cats.
by Team Cats' Michelle Dunstan there.
So we'll wait and see what the score is on that one once we get the official update on the scoreboard up the back. And a couple of stones left on sheet A as well. But back on our showcase sheet, Grace McIntosh Phillips, she's thrown the first guard. And V. Johns is about to throw her first stone of end number 5.
They've finished their bro bars, they've finished their bananas. And, I don't know, maybe there's a bit of party mix involved.
Potentially. Very quick 5 minutes. It seems a lot longer downstairs when you're at the coach's table just trying to rehydrate and re-energise. But us talking about our snacks, look, they're already back on the ice.
How quick is that? Crikey.
Time flies with that.
It's just like it was like a moment in time.
It was a moment in time.
Possibly 5 moments.
Could be 5 moments. That's exactly right. You're on fire tonight, Phil, in our after dark time slot. Obviously after dark for us here in New Zealand at 8:10. Sun goes down quite early.
Or eat, maybe.
That's right.
Eat in bro talk.
Sun goes down quite early here.
Maybe I should go there, mate.
In Otago. Obviously, if you're back home in Australia, it's
Well, there was a beautiful
earlier than
Otago sunset. Did you see the sunset this evening, Matt?
I didn't get to see it.
It was spectacular. I was having some risotto at Team Gallagher's team meeting, and out the window was a beautiful sunset over the mountain range behind Naseby. And I thought, yeah, that's all right.
That's all right.
That's all right.
Just all right.
Just all right.
Just all right. For those who don't know and who have joined us since the start of our stream, Phil, who is joining me in the guest seat, is the coach for Team Gallagher. So
Ugly rumour.
as we've been trying to continue to get them to do is to call a timeout. So Phil has to run downstairs and try and get out onto the ice to then provide those coaching words of wisdom or some calming influence as well as.
Or maybe take one of the bevies from the bar for the ladies.
Oh, I'm sure that they can wait till the end.
Get the
to have
Cardinet, get the box of Cardinet and take it down. Calm the nerves.
Calm the nerves.
Calm the nerves.
So V. John's just throwing another stone that comes in. So her second stone just came in and just nudged that first yellow guard just a little bit further to the left of your screen.
Matt, I want to talk about something else.
What do you want to talk about, Phil? Or are we
Well,
still on pies?
Well, listen, all I've got to say about pies is actually my favourite pie, hands down, since you broached the pie again. And it's going to be controversial because it always is the controversial pie in the pie group. Steak and kidney.
Steak or see, I thought you want to go with the dessert pie because that's where I was heading. But
No, I'm not into those kind of pies.
steak and kidney.
I don't do those pies. I'm a steak and kidney guy, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't do those fluffy, fancy things. That's not my caper.
There is a very good pie shop on the south side of Brisbane.
It's a dessert.
in
It's
Logan.
not a pie.
And they have a lot of good pies, both savoury and sweet.
It's dessert. Or if you're from down south, afters.
There's nothing better than a good apple pie with some
That's a
custard
dessert.
or ice cream.
Well, I do like a bit of double mixed cream on my apple pie as a dessert.
Okay, so tell us about your steak and kidney pie.
Oh, no, just steak and kidney, mate. Just load that pie right up with some tomato sauce. Just old school. Jab it in the middle like you're trying to resuscitate it.
Squeeze. It's only taken 5 ends for us to break down into laughter. We've done pretty well, I have to say.
Just go that.
Anyway, yet another topic
Just
we're going to talk about.
Just go Quentin Tarantino style. Straight in the breastplate.
Horror movie style.
Put that tomato sauce in there. And then you just got to bite down on that thing.
As we're losing it here, Team Williams is coming back out from their 5-minute break, obviously rehydrated and re-energised.
They didn't have a pie.
You didn't have a pie. And Sheet A, they're still just finishing off that third end. The fourth end. So there's 2 stones left on Sheet A, both with skip stones. So Dustin Armstrong about to throw his, and then that will be followed by Team Collins.
Oh, I did want to talk about one other.
You did want to talk
Yes,
about
I did. Yes, you know, I've recovered from my steak and kidney attack. You know, the old Quentin Tarantino stab it with a bit of, you know, adrenaline, tomato sauce style pie attack. There is a unofficial podcast out there. I do realise we're on an official Curling Australia broadcast, but there is a unofficial podcast out there that does talk about all things curling in Australia and stuff that happens curling-wise around the world. That is the Hogline podcast. So
a good plug there, not sponsored. Hashtag not sponsored.
Hashtag not curling Australia. But, heck, I just pulled the pin and threw the grenade on that one.
We, look, I have to say on both podcasts and social media, there's quite a lot of groups and pages that you can follow to keep up to date. Obviously, Curling Australia.
Curling Australia has their fantastic site, yes.
Yes, that's correct. So score updates, team updates, information about nationals, information about competitions, information about everything about the curling community here in Australia, which is great. And but as we said, there's a lot of other places that you can go as well for information. If you wish, whether you're from Australia or abroad. We've also got. I was quite prepared, I have to say, when I was packing, Phil. So.
You prepared to pack?
I did prepare to pack. So
I just looked around the room and thought, heck, what did I use this morning? Maybe I need that tomorrow.
That's right. So I'm in charge of the broom bag when we come over to New Zealand. So I've got a broom bag, which
well, it's not a Quidditch match, mate.
No,
so
that's true. But apparently it holds up to 20 brooms.
20 brooms.
We've fit quite a lot of gear in that broom bag.
That's a lot of brooms, mate.
It is for our small team of 4 or 5 people, depending on whether we're transporting.
That's like 5 brooms per person.
That's right. But something that I threw into the broom bag was a pair of binoculars because it was stored with all of my other curling stuff.
Binoculars meaning 2 lots of ocular vision.
That is correct. And I brought them here tonight just in case we needed to have a look at the scoreboard at a distance or to see anything. And some of the spectators that are here are also using the binoculars. So,
binoculars by the spectators.
So shout out to the spectators using the binoculars tonight to see what's
Big
happening.
shout out to those binocularized people that are viewing to this evening's games.
So still just waiting. We just need to wait for that game on sheet A to end. This end to end, the fourth end, which will then allow us to get a score update on both sheets A and B once they start there.
Yeah, I just saw the skip there, Andy Collins, just shooting back for a final delivery of his stone.
Last stone of the end.
Last stone of the end, where we'll be able to give a comprehensive and extensive score upline update very soon.
That's right. So about an hour and 20 minutes left in tonight's session.
That long?
Well, we're officially halfway. We started at 2 hours 40. We're down to 1 hour 20.
Well, I'll be buggered. That's like the halfway point.
It is the halfway point.
For those that will not be able to see, there was a oh wow, on sheet A. I will have to describe this for you. There was a gargantuan delivery by Andy Collins, and it has come down and clicked sideways straight in to steal the end of Team Armstrong.
Wasn't a steal because I had hammer, but there were arms in the air, jubilant.
I'm just calling it a steal because that's a steely effort by them.
It is a steely effort, and it looks like it's also taken a bit of the wind out of the sails to Team Armstrong by the looks of it as well.
Well, when you've got your shirts from Temu, they're not quite really a trout shirt. They're not really a coral trout shirt. Coral trout, probably the king of the fish of the sea. Caught quite a few in my time.
Sure you have, Phil.
There's nothing quite delving into the oceanography of the world and going hard when you want to have a decent feed of some sort of aquatic product.
So sheet A, Armstrong and Collins, they've started their 5-minute half-time break after 4 ends.
We should have sent a pie down.
Well, I have to say...
We could have split it in 4 for them.
I have to say, when we had our half-time break after our second game...
Yes.
Some of the lovely staff here at the Maniato Adventure Park...
They had a pie.
They delivered some pie to our wonderful officials. And it smelled really good, but I knew that I couldn't eat any of it because I had to get those lollies in, get the hydration going, and get back out on the ice. So,
was it a mutton pie?
I don't know what type of pie it was, but it was a tease, is what I'd say.
A mutton tease?
It was a teasing pie.
Well, just a teasy pie. It's not teasy when it's easy with having a pie.
We've got, so Brad Scott from Team Collins, he's just come up to just check on the stream, make sure that we're doing everything right. And I have to say, the bro bar is not the same type of bro bar that we've got, but it is a golden oat. Golden oat bar. So
golden oat? Well, they're those oats I was telling you about there, mate.
Yes, that's right.
I said it's got to have oats.
Yeah.
Then it's oat-tastic.
It's oat-tastic. We were so busy talking about pies, Phil.
Pies!
We were so busy we didn't update the score. It was 4. Which is what you called. Lynn Gill signalled 4 to the umpire. So
good on you, Lil.
That was the,
look at that.
That was the steal
Lynn
of
can
4.
count to 4
and
beyond, I'm sure.
Yep. It was a steal of 4. It takes it to 10-1 against Team Gallagher. So Hlushak sitting on 10 with the Yellowstones and Gallagher sitting on 1 at the moment. With Hammer in the 5th end.
Does seem to be an awful lot of yellow there in the house there, Matt.
At the moment there is, yes.
I'm surprised I can see that from this distance.
That's true, especially because they are the Yellowstones are quite light.
Yes, they blend into the ice quite well. It's like a team with camouflage on it as a uniform.
Yes. Some could say that it is a little hard to see when there are camouflage teams.
Yes.
But certainly have to say the Battleship Grey from Team Hlushak and the you could almost call it a port wine rather than
old port. Yes.
Than a maroon from Team Gallagher. Very, very.
It's like the grandfather port of uniforms.
They are striking colours, and they.
Well, striking actually would be the colloquially named Team Collins on sheet A that people can't see.
That is correct.
Striking, because not only do they have a striking uniform, but a striking nickname, Team ABBA.
Team ABBA. And why are they called Team ABBA, Phil?
Andy, Brad, I don't know, old mate and other guy.
No, so we've got 2 Brads on Team Collins. We've got an Andrew and
well,
an
Brad that was just up here getting his oat bar.
That's right. And Andy who threw the wonderful shot at the end.
Wow, that spectacular delivery.
Yep, we've got Andrew who's the lead.
Yes.
And another Brad.
Andrew's fresh on the ice this year, fresh into Naseby. Fresh. He's a newbie.
Great to see.
A freshie.
great to see so many people coming from our Come and Tries and Learn to Curl sessions over in Australia. And
The effort.
And then ending up and coming on national teams.
The effort not only to procure these people into the game of curling through the organisations and associations around Australia, but also the effort put into people like Andy coming here to ensure that he can participate in this event.
Absolutely. And it's great to see the community come together when it is time for nationals, for nominations, in reaching out to people all across.
Absolutely.
All across the land to form extra teams, so that way we've got 6 wonderful teams in the men's competition this year. We've got 5 in the women's and 11 teams in mixed doubles. So that's later. Once we get through these competitions here, mixed doubles is going to be on.
Next level even. The number of teams has gone stratospheric this year.
We've just missed a takeout attempt from Team Gallagher there. So Ros Gallagher with the first of her 2 skip stones just nicked the outside of that yellow stone, moving some stones around the house. Definitely looking like 2 for yellow, potentially 3, but there is a red just out there, just on the tee line as well, that may be 3rd in play.
And Matt, anyone that missed that, they can replay this at any time, can't they?
Absolutely, even though it is a live stream, there's the rewind
It is
button.
a rewind button to be played back at your leisure.
We don't have that luxury here. If we don't see it, we don't see it.
Unless
we go home and rewatch our stream.
Well, that would be, I don't know,
time travel.
Or self-deprecating, possibly. I'll leave that to the listeners.
Yes, that's all right. So we've got Sandy Gagnon, chief umpire. She's up at the other end of
the beautiful Sandy.
Other end of the sheet. So sitting
shout out
sheets A and B. Hopefully, getting a score update from her shortly from those 2 scores there. Obviously, we know that that Team Collins stole. Didn't steal one. They stole the hearts of the crowd up here.
They stole the
They
hearts.
stole the hearts, and they took the wind out of the sails of Team Armstrong to get 1. So that's 4.
There's not a gust left.
There's not a gust left. Not at the moment. They'll have to dig deep to try and find those gusts. But we're at sheet A is 4 to red, which is Team Armstrong, and 1 in that 4th end to Team Collins in the 5th end. And then we'll just wait for an official score update on sheet B. Ros has just thrown her wowzers. Look at that.
Her wowzers.
Yes, Ros has.
She's found the port.
She has found the port.
She went right in. She went home. She's gone in the hole, mate.
She has, and so we're moving some stones around. There was a lot of cheering at the end, so we will wait to see what happens. We
will see the score. Rob Gagnon down there.
Rob Gagnon.
He is scoring it up.
And it's still just a steal of 1 to Hlushak. Obviously, Ros Gallagher did some great work there.
Oh, she cut it down. She cut it down.
She did cut it down.
Just made it 1.
Just 1.
Just the 1.
So at the end of the 5th, we're sitting at 11 to Team Hlushak and 1 to Gallagher on sheet C.
What's happening on sheet D, Matt?
Sheet D, we've had a steal.
Steely.
Yes. So Team Kildy's stolen 1 against Team Johns. So they're currently sitting on 2 with Team Johns on 11. Team Johns with Hammer in the 6th, so they're coming home in the end, in the 6th end here. And sheet B, we've got that update now.
So updates, yes.
We do have an update. So let's go from left to right. We'll do the update.
We'll do the update left to right. You go, Matt. You are much better at vision. Your glass optometrist must be better than mine.
I do have my binoculars beside me if you need.
The biocular vision, yes.
That's all right. So
yes.
So sheet A, we've got it's 4 to 1 to red. So that's Team Armstrong on 4, and Team Collins on 1. Sheet B, we've got that looks like 3, 6, 10, 15. So 15 to Armstrong. Sorry, it's 15 to Williams. Team Williams there.
Yeah, well, Armstrong's not over here with Williams.
That's right.
Well, they could be.
I'm trying to do some mental maths in my head while trying to
mental maths.
Teams. So we've got 15 to 0 at the moment for Team Williams versus Team Cats in the 5th end. We've got on sheet C, we've got Team Hlushak on 11 with the Yellowstones and Team Gallagher on 1 in the 6th. And on sheet D, we've got Team Johns on 11 with Team Kildee with the Redstones on 2.
This has got shades of the first session of men's, Matt. Big numbers.
Yes, big numbers.
Big numbers.
Big numbers.
It's a big number game.
It is.
It's a big number game this time.
It is. It's also a game of
numbers,
small degrees and millimeters as well.
That's right. It's all about the millimeters. It's all about the angles and rocks. There's some brooms
and a lot of spirit of curling out there.
There's some spirit up here, mate.
There is.
We're spiritualizing the game right now.
So we're still waiting for Team Gallagher to call their timeout so that Phil can run down the stairs and provide his.
You are going to make me do. They're going to call a timeout on the final stone.
I reckon they will.
Just for the pure comedy of it.
I think they will.
From everyone's perspective, apart from mine.
That's true. For those listeners back home in Australia, though, do we have any awards other than obviously our gold, silver, and bronze, Phil?
Oh, everyone's a winner.
Everyone is a winner.
I mean, it's no kids' soccer match where everyone just gets a medal for just being the Saturday afternoon.
No, that's true. But
we don't do that here.
No.
There's none of that.
But we do have a very special award.
We have
the Spirit of Curling Award, Phil.
Oh, this is something that's close to my heart. There's many things that are close to my heart, and there's no need to steal my heart on this one whatsoever.
No, won't be stealing your heart on this one.
No. The Spirit of Curling Award, there is in our men's and women's competitions, we have a Spirit of Curling Award through Curling Australia, something that's been instituted here post the apocalyptic era of COVID-19. And the Spirit of Curling is awarded to those individuals who have shown absolute spirit of curling during the course of the competition, there is a male and a female award. The male award is awarded in honour of Ian Pelangio, a curler that used to represent Australia, who has sadly passed. And it is named in his honour, so we certainly have his spirit here with us, certainly to this day, through that award. At this point in time, the female award has yet to be immortalised, but it's given after a anonymous voting of the group of curlers that are here, for people who have certainly exhibited the true spirit of curling and, well, I wouldn't say self-sacrifice, that's probably going into a different realm, but certainly an effort to display all the attributes of curling that possibly could be.
And we're quite unique as a sport by having the spirit of curling underpinning our rulebook. It's when you look at the official rulebook, it features on page 2. Obviously, page 1 is the cover, and then the very first thing that you'd read is the spirit of curling. So it does underpin everything that we do here, not only here at Nationals, but across all competitions across the world.
All curling competitions.
Absolutely.
It's the verse that our sport is based on.
That is true.
The foundation stone, the Rosetta Stone of curling. No other sport that I'm aware of has the same level of integrity. Certainly wouldn't want to kick that stone out of the park at any point if you were actually regarded as a decent curler.
Speaking of stones, though, we've just got Hlushak just sweeping out one of Team Gallagher's stones. Just out of the scoring position at the moment.
Just out of scoring position.
Still
beyond the 8 foot into the back
right.
10 zone.
And I know that we spoke earlier about our food team lineup change. Have we had a team lineup change on Team Gallagher?
Team lineup? Oh yes, we have. Yes, there was a big mix-up on Team Gallagher. When I say mix-up, it's not in some sort of Harry, Larry and Moe kind of mix-up way. We had the team discussion because Team Gallagher's only had the one game earlier today where they've had a chance to play together. A lot of curlers here at this Nationals only have that one opportunity to come together on this beautiful ice here in Central Otago at the time that we all fly in from the different points of Australia's global sphere of curling. The team lineup change that we had on Team Gallagher, there was a bit of a change-up. V. Johns was delivering third, and she certainly feels a lot better delivering in the lead position or the first stones. Then Carolyn Swan was delivering in second position, or second stones as it's called, and she's gone up to the vice or third stones more importantly. And at the moment we've got Lynn Hewitt and Ellen alternating in second position there.
So after that half-time break, we've seen Lynn Hewitt come on the ice, taking Ellen's spot, Ellen Weir's spot.
And they would have to have submitted a change of lineup form for that, Matt.
So it's all official.
All official, officially recognised by our spectacular coaches and umpires here this evening. Sandy Gagnon would have taken that form undoubtedly and folded appropriately.
Or possibly Rob Gagnon.
Maybe
as well.
Rob. Yep.
Rob does look like he's looking after the sheets C and D today. But
Rob's certainly capable.
Yes, very capable.
He's a capable kind of guy.
He is, but something that I did actually notice is, as you were talking about the players on the teams, we've actually got each of the 4 states of curling represented on sheet C. So we've got Amanda...
No way.
We do. So Team Hlushak, all Queenslanders. We've got Amanda Hlushak, Lynn Gill, Nicole Hewitt, who lives in South Australia but registered with Queensland, Grace McIntosh Phillips.
What a bunch of banana benders.
All from Queensland.
Yes.
And then Team Gallagher is a bit of a mixed bag in terms of where people have come from. That spirit of curling we were talking about earlier.
The spirit, yes.
Bringing everyone together, bringing the community.
The community.
Together.
The community is together.
We've got Roz Gallagher, obviously the skip,
yep.
and the namesake. We've got Lynn Hewitt and Ellen Weir as well, representing Victoria. We've got Veronica Johns from New South Wales, and we've got Carolyn Swan from WA. So
look at that!
We've got a full,
the whole complement of Australian curling. Look at that! There's all of Australia is on this one sheet.
Just one sheet.
One sheet of curling.
How is that?
Amplifies Australia, right there.
It not only amplifies, it amplifies and exemplifies.
Exemplification!
Anyway, we've got a bit of a score update on sheet B as well. So at the end of the 5th, Team Williams was able to steal 5 there. So a bit of a tough night in the office for Team Cats going into the 6th. They've got Hammer, so it's currently Team Williams on 20 and Team Cats on 0. Hopefully...
20, is that a 2-0?
It is a 2-0, but hopefully...
They've got a comeback chance.
Look at this coming in.
Look at the comeback.
There we go.
They're coming back.
So Team Cats, they've swept... They've nosed one of the Yellowstones that's in their house.
To use the famous man's word, they've hurried hard.
They have hurried hard. Big sweep there from Team Cats, so hopefully they can keep going and hopefully they can score some points in this 6th end.
If we briefly touch back on the community on sheet C.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Phil.
We've got depth there. Because not only do we have the matriarchal society here of curling, we've got the young ones coming in as well.
We do.
We've got V. Johns, her famous father.
Steve Johns
on sheet D.
Yep.
She's there, bringing the next generation forward.
Absolutely.
We've got Lynn Hewitt.
Well, we spoke about earlier. We
spoke about Lynn.
We had the Lyns. We've got the Lyns.
We've got the Lyns.
The Lyns. So both Lynn Hewitt, mother of
Lynn and Lynn,
of Dean Hewitt, and Lynn Gill, the mother of Tali Gill.
Doubling it up.
Yep. Australia's bronze medalists at the recent World
They
Championships.
got a bronze. They could melt that down.
Mixed
Bronze
doubles.
is probably pretty valuable these days.
Yeah.
There's probably a tariff on it somewhere.
And, yes, both of their dads are also named Steve. So
Steve-O's.
We've got
The Steves.
We've got Lynn squared, Steve squared.
Steve squared.
Yep, Lynn squared, Steve squared.
These.
But I have to say, Phil, I know that you'll be on the plane on the way back to Australia when the mixed double starts. But Tali and Dean, world bronze medalists, they'll be here. They'll be contending and contesting their.
Give them a hug for me, mate.
I will. They'll be contesting their Australian Championship title. I'm trying to go back to back.
That's a lot of back.
Quite a lot of
That's
backs.
backing it up, mate.
Yeah, they are.
They backed right up there.
They
Was
do.
there a backup signal like on an Isuzu or something?
Oh dear. Anyway, we've got a couple of stones left on sheet D, which is Team Johns and Team Kildee. And we'll bring you some score updates from the other sheets when those sheets have finished. But we've got Carolyn Swan drawing in.
Oh,
And
Carolyn's a
sitting
look at that.
Almost
Look at that.
just swept out by Lynn Gill just to the back of the four.
That's that Western Australia power we were talking about earlier.
It is, but
Look at that.
Look, if that was my draw shot challenge, I'd be very happy with that.
Well, I know because I've seen yours.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. No, I had.
No, you've done well.
I-
You've done well this
I
weekend.
have only thrown one draw shot challenge so far in the competition.
You certainly
so
beat my 199.6.
that's right. That was just first game jitters, though, Phil. So your second one was much better than that.
Yeah, I kind of nailed that one, to be honest.
You did. Let's see if I can back up in the in the middle draw of tomorrow. So that's when Team Gojnik's back on the ice.
For those of you who don't know, when we do the last draw stones that are at the beginning of this broadcast.
Beginning of broadcast, but at the end of the 9 minutes. So you have your 9 minutes.
That
of
is
team
correct. Yep.
practice,
Team
then
practice.
You throw your clockwise and your counterclockwise last
Yep.
time draws.
You would have seen the measures there by our gallant and dedicated umpires, Sandy and Rob. And they have measured everyone's stones. They've gotten deep into the rings
Yes, they have, and they
and measured your stones.
with the lasers. So
They got out the shark lasers.
very accurate lasers. Not quite sharks with laser beams.
Well, I
on
was
their
going to
heads.
use another word, but
Yeah.
they're pretty sharp shark lasers is all I can say.
Sharp shark. That's a bit of a tongue twister, Phil. I would
Well,
say.
you know, I've said worse things tonight.
That's true.
They get out the lasers, they measure the distance. It's not the old sewing tape measure.
It's not the tape
It's
measure.
it's scientific.
It is scientific.
They're using science with the lasers. They measure the distance.
They do.
They find out how close you are to the what we call the button, the centre of the house there. You might get lucky, you might get 2 centimetres, you might get 22 centimetres. But if you're beyond the circle, your measure is 199.6.
That's right, Phil. And so what
And it
happens?
takes skill to get that measure.
The 199.6. Yeah, I'm sure it does take some skill. But
I'm skilled up, mate.
what happens is obviously our last stone draw helps us to determine who has the hammer in the first end.
That's
But-
right, that's how you get your hammer.
But
Take a measure to get a hammer.
yeah, that's right.
Why doesn't Bunnings do
I
that?
was just gonna make a Bunnings joke as well, but it's really important.
Oh, hang on. We're not here about the sponsors.
No, that's right.
So we'll call it Hammer Barn.
Hammer Barn, that's right. But across each of the games, across each of the draws, what will then happen is that the teams then get an average of their last stone draws, called a draw shot challenge, and that can be used as a team ranking separating tool, where we've got more than 2 teams on the same win-loss ratio, and where there's so let's say that there's 3 teams on the same win-loss ratio, and each team has won 1 and each team has lost 1 against those 3 teams that are all tied. Then we got a draw shot challenge to work out a ranking on there. So it is really important, not just for hammer, but also for that
For the overall.
for that draw.
The
shot
overall
challenge.
for the entire competition.
Correct.
And are there any measures that are dropped?
There are. So depending on how many.
How do they get dropped, Matt?
So well, it depends on how many teams are in there as to what the protocol is. But normally it's 1 or 2 of the largest. So Phil was talking about 199.6. That's one that he's thrown so far.
Thanks, Matt, for that.
You're welcome. You mentioned it earlier.
Well, I did bring it up,
You
yes.
did bring it up.
Or lowered the bar, as we would say, yes.
But yeah, so some of those higher ones do get dropped from that average calculation to allow us to get that draw challenge. But we keep talking, and what are we at? The last of Hlushak's skip stones, and then Gallagher's got one to go on sheet C in the sixth end here. Lynn Gill calling for the sweep.
Well, she's tapping the ice. I don't know what she's calling, to be honest.
I think she's just trying to get it into the white. Is all that they want.
I think she's saying, over here, ladies.
Yep.
Bring it in.
Bring it in. Hard,
Bring it in where I'm tapping.
Big hard sweep from both. Grace
And you know what? She
Phillips.
tapped there, and they put it there.
Yep. Grace McIntosh Phillips and Nicole Hewitt with a great sweep there.
What would be the percentage of that?
You'd have to tell me.
I would say if she had tapped there and it ended there, that'd be 100%.
That's pretty good.
Like 1 for 1, wouldn't it?
1 for 1, yep. That's where she wanted it. That's where it ended up. So we got Rose Gallagher here delivering her last stone on sheet C.
The crowd's gone silent,
The crowd
man.
has gone silent.
The crowd has gone silent.
They're seeing a potential finish on sheet D. We're just getting the final official score up.
For all we know, we could be looking at a potential finish on sheet C too. We're in the sixth end.
We are.
Who knows what will happen?
So here at the
That's up to skips.
That's true. Here at the Australian Nationals, eight ends is what we play, but minimum 6 need to be played. And it looks like with the rocks being stacked. No, we haven't seen a handshake by the looks of it. We're still going on sheet D.
Well, we're interested in sheet C.
I know we are. I just thought that we might have had a result to report.
That's all right. We'll come back to that in a second. We're about to see what's happening here on sheet C. We're looking. There was two called by Lynn Gill, the vice of Team Hlushak.
I'm just standing up in the broadcast position because I've got a really good view of Rob Gagnon and his scorecard to see whether we're going to have a result here or whether they're going to continue to play.
Well, no one seems to be doing the traditional shake. And I would suggest, from the look on Roz's face, she may be returning to...
Yep. And Grace McIntosh Phillips, the lead for Hlushak, is taking her gripper off. Took her glove off, ready to throw stone.
Gloves off.
Gloves off.
The gauntlet is thrown.
So we're still going on sheet C.
They are going hard on sheet C, aren't they?
They are.
They are going for it. Is this going to be like a bronze, silver, or gold?
Not quite sure. We'll have to wait and see. 2 more ends to go.
Platinum?
Up to 2 ends to go.
Maybe a milk bottle cap.
Bottle cap.
Sorry to interrupt you. You had something important.
Yes.
On sheet D.
On sheet D.
Sheet D, we've got to narrow down and focus on it.
Yes. So in the fourth end, Team Kildy they took one with hammer and then stole one in end 5. So stole one to get to 2, but just as Steve Johns moves out of the way, it looks like that Team Johns has taken 5 with hammer in the 6th end, taking the score to 16-2. Still just...
Well, that's recoverable.
It is recoverable.
You know, like if that team of Team Johns possibly just stand aside and let all the stones venture into the house of their own ability.
So we've got Team Kildy with hammer and on sheet D in the 7th end. Team Johns.
That was excellent sweeping by Tanner.
It was excellent sweeping
Did
by
you?
Tanner Davis.
You might well have seen the sweeping in the corner of the cameras there for the viewers at home. Tanner went hard. He went hard like he was going home.
And there's some cheering up here in the crowd because Team Cats looks like that they've drawn in for a score of 1 against Team Williams at the end of the 6th. So we'll obviously wait for the official score.
Oh, it's become official.
Well, it has
the score hasn't been posted.
The score hasn't been posted, but the match is
There's
over.
shaking.
There's
hugging.
There's a lot of emotion on the ice.
There's emotion. Emotion is flowing.
Emotion is flowing. But a great display from both teams. Great sportsmanship. Great spirit of curling out there as well.
Oh, the emotion of the community of curling right there, amplified on shit.
Is it amplified or exemplified?
Mate, it's just flowing.
It's flowing.
It's got the flow on.
It's got the flow on. So we're gonna have a nice team photo is what's being taken, to celebrate the success of both teams, and obviously, it was an uphill battle for Team Cats during that match. However, obviously very fortunate enough to get that one point at the end.
Will there be a photo?
Well, it looks like there is a photo because we've got.
I'd like to say it's a Kodak moment, but I don't know if that company even exists anymore.
It does still exist.
It does?
It does still exist.
What do they do then?
I believe lots of X-rays.
Oh, all right.
X-rays and medical imaging.
Medical imaging these days.
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
lots of innovation.
Did you know there's a lot of medicos as part of the world of curling?
There are quite a lot of people here competing that are from the medical profession, and we thank all of our medical professionals from all walks and all types all across each of our games, whether they're on the ice tonight or whether they're just up here spectating or back at home, hopefully watching our stream over potentially a risotto or a nice lasagna. Or whatever
Possibly
else,
a pie.
or a pie, whatever else they've got for dinner tonight.
Risotto, pie, bro bar, maybe even a banana for... Hell, one of those crazy apple pies you had earlier.
Apple pies, yeah.
Just whack it in for dessert.
I didn't have an apple pie, I was just talking about it, Phil, but we had tacos at home tonight.
Well, no, you were talking about it. I didn't say you had the pie.
That's true.
I just said you were talking about it.
Here we go. Sheet A.
Well, that was a big hit.
There was a hit on there on sheet A.
It was a big hit. Oh, and look at that. That stone's no longer in play. For everyone at home, you don't know what you missed.
Phil's just losing it at the moment, but we'll just update that scoreboard for you as well now that we've got the official score. So officially, Hlushak scoring 2 in the 6th end, taking it to 13 for Team Hlushak on the Yellowstones, and Team Gallagher 1 on the Redstones at the end of the 6th.
Even though quiet time wasn't really a suggestion, Matt. We certainly have lost the flow of emotion from everything that was happening on Sheet B.
That's true.
We're now looking for other impact moments.
Well, that was an impact moment just up at the end of Sheet C, where we had one of those draws just touching the top red there.
Touching? That's not an impact. Well, technically it's an impact.
That's
true. It was more a fender bender.
However, we've got Nicole Hewitt in the hack with the Yellowstones, potentially trying for a double here.
Well, you know, she's hacking it up.
She's hacking it up. So Sweeper sweeping hard, trying to keep it online.
They are hurrying hard in the old term. In the old term from Canada. Matt, I would say there's a small lull here in our commentary.
Well, there is a little bit. However, it looks like Team Kilda has been arithmetically eliminated.
Arithmetically?
Yeah, that's arithmetically eliminated. Arithmetically is what it says in the rule book. So we've got X's hung up under the 7th end, so they've run out of potential stones to try and bring back that deficit.
Wow.
So the final score there on sheet D is 16 to Team Johns and 2 to Team Kildy. Great showing again from our first year curlers at Nationals in Team Kildy, up against a very experienced lineup with Team Johns.
Team Johns have some strong players there. We've got possibly one of the patriarchs there of curling in Australia. We've got Hugh Milliken. You've got Steve Johns, father to V that we mentioned earlier.
On sheet C.
On sheet C, the feature sheet, the spectacular sheet tonight. We've also got Tanner there.
Tanner Davis. And,
man of many words, Tanner. Yes.
And
yes.
Matt Panucci as well.
Matt Panucci or Panini, whichever day of the week it is.
Yes, our commentary, our spectators here are obviously getting hungry from all the food that we're talking about. But
I said earlier, food, shelter, food.
The essentials.
The essentials. It's a human condition to want these things.
So we've got Carolyn Swan here about to line up for her for her stones here. Ros is calling, Ros Gallagher, the skip's calling, coming in behind the yellow in the top of the house. So hopefully try and curl in behind there.
Out on the wing.
Out on the wing.
Out on the wing.
Still a couple of stones left on sheet A before we can give you an update on the end of that 6th end. Still a couple of stones to go. 45 minutes left in the competition tonight.
Even less if you want to just call it.
That's right.
That's up to a skip.
But that stone was a little bit light, and rather than coming behind those yellows, it's just nudged the yellow a little bit closer into the house. You'll be able to see that on that top-down view. They're just in front of that tee line. Justin Armstrong on sheet A with his last stone to throw. Looking like a draw. Sam Williams holding up the broom for a draw.
I think they're going for 4, Matt. The big 4.
Could be the big 4.
Well, 4
Just
in general.
4. Just
4-0.
Bit hard to get 40 in one end.
I don't know, mate. Just get a few rocks from the other sheets.
Bit of shouting, bit of sweeping going on, and just
nothing near it.
Nothing.
So that would be a 3. Not so 3.
Not quite yet, because we've got Team Colds with hammer.
They're going to hammer it in, aren't they?
Quite possibly. Let's see what Team Collins is able to do. Whether they're able to move a few of the stones around and see if they can take one with hammer from Team Armstrong, or potentially even more.
Back on the showcase sheet, we've got Carolyn Swan's second delivery about to happen.
Are they looking like they're trying to do the same shot, Phil?
Listen, it would be what I would call in the colloquially a carbon copy. For those of you who don't know, in the modern era, that would be a piece of paper with a piece of carbon and another piece of paper. What you mark on the paper generates a copy.
There you go. And of course, that's what the CC, when you're seeing an email.
Carbon copy.
Yeah.
You could have a BCC as well.
That's right, a blind carbon copy.
Or Brisbane City Council if you're from Queensland.
That's true.
Got Amanda Hlushak back in the hack, cleaning her stone as we speak. She's got one of those multicoloured yellow and other...
Looks like a silver or a grey.
Silver or grey?
Yep. For her broom.
I would say it's more a smoky colour.
What I have to say, Phil, is we were going to try and do our that broom ranking, and
Broom ranking,
we ended
yes.
up talking about food so much that half of the games are finished. We haven't even ranked.
We haven't ranked brooms. Well, listen, I'm just going to jump to the final on the brooms.
Yep.
Once you go chrome, you just have a silver chromey broom.
See, you and I are on the same wavelength. I was going to say nothing beats the chrome broom.
It's shiny.
That Dustin Armstrong has on.
Dustin Armstrong's got the shiny broom.
It's just imposing, I've got to say.
It's just there. It's like a big broom object that's shiny.
No, I do have to say, obviously, you feel you
I like my chrome.
You stand to the house. You stand to the house as our skip.
I do.
But I have to say, it is very imposing. I'm trying to focus on your broom and your, where you're trying to hold it, but it's just very imposing.
Well, when you spend $5 on a broom versus $50,000, what do you expect?
That's true.
You know,
you'd almost call it power broom.
Power broom. It's power brooming.
Oh, timeout. Here we go.
Oh!
We got a timeout.
Shit, bro!
So Phil has to do his... Phil has to do his coach's duties. His boots are coming off. He's trying to put his curling shoes on. People are moving chairs out of the way so he can get down there. It's at the far end. He's got a minute of travel time to go. The players on the ice are laughing at him, trying to get his shoes on time. We called it. We knew it was going to happen. No, I know. Here we go. Yeah. Phil's been called down for a timeout. He's the coach of Sheet C. So, not quite sure how much is left on the timeout clock. But we've got Team Gallagher. Team Gallagher is up at the house end. Team Hlushak is just off to the side, having a small team chat. Speaking of colours, Phil has the very unique pink gripper, which he uses to start some conversation when he's in the house. So I think the best part about having a coach in the commentary box is that we're going to be able to get a real insight into what they are talking about, what strategy they're talking about when Phil gets back. Phil's got a lot of pointing going on, so they're not just talking about their favourite pie flavour, they actually are talking about strategy. Score update on sheet A though. We've got Team Armstrong scored 3 in that 6th end, so that takes their total to 8. So Red Rocks, we've got 8, and then Team Collins with Yellow Stones on 1. So 8-1 on sheet A, and still sitting 13-1 on sheet C in the 7th end. We've got 2 red stones to go, so 2 stones for Team Gallagher to go in this end, with 1 left from Team Hlushak, who have the hammer in this end. Phil's come off the ice, finishing his timeout time. He'll be making his way upstairs, and we'll certainly ask him what advice he gave the Team Gallagher while he was out there. Yeah. So we've got Team Hlushak and Team Gallagher shaking hands on this one here, just as Roz Gallagher sent that stone through. So Rob Gagnon is hanging X's on end number 7. So the final score on sheet C is 13-1. And Phil's back. He's just turning his microphone on. He's puffing. Do we need to give you a little breather before you come back onto the microphone?
Oh, mate, I'm fine.
Can you tell us what you were talking about down there?
We were talking about stones.
So what was your advice? What was the advice that you gave to Team Gallagher?
Well, it's pretty simple. The shot was there to be had for the hit and roll behind the guard.
Yep.
And it was the obvious shot. Nobody had been using the guard on the side there. all game. Sorry, a little bit out of breath still.
Yeah, I can tell, Phil. You certainly ran down there with gusto after you got your shoes on.
I did. There was a lot of concern about me tripping over on my shoelaces.
Yes, yeah, we did see the shoelaces, but I was also commenting for those listeners at home and watchers at home about your peak gripper.
Oh, it's for the ladies, mate.
It's for ladies. I said it was for conversation in the house.
Well, only when you're up against the best.
Yeah, that's right. So three sheets have finished for tonight here. Just a reminder, we've got Team Williams on 20 versus Team Cats on 1 on sheet B. We've had the handshake here on sheet C, so Team Hlushak finishing on 13 versus 1 with Team Gallagher, and then on sheet D we've got Team Kildy on 2, going down to Team Johns on 16. So one game left tonight, Phil, on sheet A. So that's now going to be our feature match.
Yeah, I might see what I can do about that for you, mate. Just give me one moment here and I'll see if I can arrange some technical aspects that we could help our viewers and listeners at home.
That's okay. So we've got Team Collins and Team Armstrong who are left playing on sheet A. We've got Phil, who is just adjusting the angle of the camera to try and get as much as we can. Obviously, there are some windows here with some window panes in the way. Hopefully, you can see as much as you can. Obviously, the top-down shots are not going to be there. It's a little bit hard to see, so Phil's just going to adjust to try and get the away house on the string for you a little bit further, Phil. There we go. So as we said, the top-down cameras are still obviously for sheet C, so you won't be able to see anything there, but hopefully you'll see from the near hog line to us down to the house on sheet A. So at the moment it's Team Armstrong sitting on 8 after 6 ends, with Team Collins on 1 with the hammer.
Certainly another feature match that we've got going. Now we have the vision, at least on the far end, Matt.
That's true.
So double it up for this evening, everyone at home. You've got a bonus few extra ends there where we can give you what we can for sheet A at short notice.
That's right. 34 minutes left on the clock, so
plenty of playing time.
Plenty of playing
time
here at the Australian Nationals for this year. Once that clock reaches 0, there's no more ends that can be started. So hopefully they'll be able to get both of their ends in if they're trying to play both ends, depending on obviously the result of this seventh end.
Yeah, with this sort of scoreline, we certainly could end up with this end being the final. We certainly could go all the way to the 8.
We could go to the 8, absolutely. So Team Collins could certainly get some stones in the house, shake things up a little bit, and go through to that 8th end. So Sam Williams has just delivered one of his stones.
Just tipping the one yellow out there.
And that's a handshake there. So the skips have shaken hands during that 7th end.
So we are calling it. We are calling it.
Looks like we're calling it. We'll wait for the official score to go up onto the scoreboard. Thank you to Sandy Gagnon once all the paperwork's been signed and the score's been hung. We thought we were going to be here a little bit longer, didn't we?
We were doing our best to bring 30 extra minutes of curling to those listeners at home, viewers around the world that were interested in what was happening in curling in Central Otago within the Curling Australia community.
That's right. So just once we get that final score update on the scoreboard, we might say goodnight shortly. Once we do one final score update across each of those sheets, X's have gone up in Sheet 7, so that's the final score is Team Armstrong with Redstones on 8. Team Collins with Yellowstones on 1 on Sheet A. Sheet B, we've got X's in Sheet 7 as well. So Team Williams on 20 and Team Cats on 1. Sheet C, our feature sheet, we've got, again, X's in 7. We've got X's in 7 across all of these games tonight, Phil. So Team Hlushak was on 13 with Team Gallagher on 1. And then finally on Sheet D, we've got Team Johns on 16 with Team Kildy on 2. Lights have come on up here in the lounge upstairs at the Maniatoto Adventure Park and the Naseby Ice Rink.
They certainly have. I'm sure the teams will be coming to have a celebratory beverage here at the facilities, and we'd like to go with a strong sign-out where we thank our viewers of tonight's broadcast, where we've been able to watch this fantastic curling at this facility here in New Zealand, and appreciate all of your support, whether you be local here on the Central Otago Plain or anywhere in this wonderful world that we live in.
Absolutely. And one last thank you from me as well to our wonderful officials and technical staff here. So our ice makers here, we've got Sandy and Rob Gagnon, our umpires, as well as our technical delegates and event coordinators as well. All of this doesn't happen without our wonderful volunteers.
Absolutely.
Brad Scott, our streaming coordinator as well. So thank you so much to everyone who's joined us. Thank you to all the people who make these wonderful
thank you, Matt,
possible. Thank you, Phil. And you probably won't hear from us again during this week. Depends on the outcome of some of the games to come. But certainly join us tomorrow morning. We've got more curling kicking off. 3 draws again tomorrow. First game starts at 9 o'clock. Not sure who's on the microphones tomorrow, but certainly will be a very, very interesting series of draws as we start to get to the end of the round robin. So thank you to everyone for watching tonight, and have a wonderful evening.
And may your rocks be cold and hard.